Hello, everybody. Ash Lockhart here. Today, I want to talk to you about League of Legends and why I think League of Legends is a bad game, but it's fun to play. All right, so I've been playing League of Legends probably for the past, oh God, I'd want to say since season three, maybe season three or two. It was around the time when basically Teemo used to be able to fill the whole map with shrooms. Um, but in any case, yeah, the reason League of Legends to me is basically a terrible game is because of how it evolves so much around basically teamwork. It's a team-based game where um, you have to have you know, your whole team of all 5 players help you destroy the enemy's, nexus, which is some form of big, huge diamond thing in the center of your base. Um, and in the process of it, you have to get down a whole bunch of towers, and as you kill each other and destroy towers, you gain gold, in which you use the gold to buy items, and in which you use to buy items to go ahead and you know uh, become more stronger, or kill other players, and etc. etc. But what makes the game bad and what makes it really toxic is the fact that, well, believe it or not, it's actually the fact that it's a team-based game. Um, I know that kind of sounds weird, but and I know most PvP games are team-based, so it's like, wait, how is it toxic because of teamwork? Well, okay, so here's the thing. Um, League of Legends, when you're playing the game by yourself, um, the whole game evolves 100% around these complete strangers that you're queued with, or when you enter the match, you have to rely on these strangers to do all these certain things accordingly in order to win the game. Now, if they don't do things the correct way, or back you up in certain particular ways, regardless whether you're the support, you're the tank, you're the jungler, you're the ADC, it doesn't matter what particular role you pick. If your team does not do things you know in the way you're entrusting your teammates to do, you'll lose the game instantly. It doesn't. I mean, think about. Let's put it this way. I mean, we know we've all seen matches and been in matches where we've gone like some crazy number, like 17 kills and 0 deaths. We've all been there, right? But the thing is even if you successfully do that, you successfully ace the enemy team like 3 times. But the problem is your own team does not push the lanes. They're not pushing to kill the towers to get to the nexus. They want the game to go on longer so they can get all their items. But what your teammates don't realize, these complete strangers, they're not realizing that you're giving the enemy time to rebuild and uh, re have a better chance at turning the game around, because Riot has designed certain champions to be more effective late game. Some of the champions are designed to only be effective early game. Some champions are preferably designed to only take out these particular type of champions, and not be so easy to take out these other ones. Each Riot's so technical with everything, but in a way that made the game fun, but in the way it is what causes the game to be so toxic. Um, so, but the problem, like I said, the problem with how the game's bad is you're asking Riot is, which Riot is the people who, control and, make the game League of Legends basically. And essentially, Um, they're asking complete strangers to be and do certain particular things in this game. And that's where, literally, if you want to know where, why the game is so toxic, you want to know why it's just, it's the one game that makes you rage 10 times more than you would, playing Call of Duty. At least in my view, I think people rage more playing League of Legends than they do Call of Duty or World of Warcraft or any other ones combined. I could care less than how many times I've died in any other game than I do actually in League of Legends. And because the biggest problem is it doesn't matter if you do well in the game. Unless your team successfully pushes and ends the game in in very little time, every minute that goes by, you give that more of a chance um, for your enemy team to go ahead and get the items and successfully, kill your base and win the game. Even though you're ahead, it doesn't matter. Um, if you still don't get it, well, let's put it this way. Let's break it down. Let's say you're playing. I don't care. Let's say you're playing just a simple support. Okay. Simple role, probably one of the easiest roles in the entire game, right? Um, let's say you just got to lane, minions just came in, and you're basically, you're walking back and forth, you're guarding your ADC, you're protecting them, and you go in for a little bit of a poke, whether it's your basic attack you're using or it's your spell, whichever the case ends up being. And you're just trying to whittle their health down, and at the same time you're trying to stay safe. But while all this is going on, you're getting poked at the same time too. And every time you're getting poked, your partner is supposed to technically back you up. So like, let's say you poke the enemy, and as soon as you poke the enemy, you start walking backwards, because the enemy's minions is going to start attacking you. So your back line, your ADC guy that's sitting there farming, should be getting ready to, basically, what do you call it? Hit the guy that's about ready to go ahead and hit you after you poke them. In other words, trading back and forth. That's the correct term. I was trying to figure out the term for it. So you trade a hit, and then your ADC should be protecting you as you're trying to run away. So that way they, if they hit you, they're going to take damage too. So it's a trade-off back and forth. But the problem is Riot is expecting this stranger that you're queuing up with to react that particular way. And right there is where the frustration comes into play. Like, regardless whether, even if you're not the support, like if you're playing the ADC, right? You see the enemy making a mistake, you take advantage of it, but your support doesn't like follow through with the attacks, or better yet, your support doesn't go ahead and constantly heal you and attack at the same time or whatever to help the trading work in your favor. It doesn't matter. All the situations, if the stranger does not do what you're expecting them to do, you automatically become food, or better yet, it went from a 4 verse 3 now it's become a 2 verse 3. Things can automatically change around and just switch in a heartbeat. So in the end, it's it doesn't matter how well you do if your team doesn't do what what they should be doing. The game is a loss. So, but like I said, and that's where the game itself being toxic is coming from. It's not really the players. It's just how the game is designed. Players have to act and be a certain particular way because that's how Riot designed the game itself. That's how they designed the mechanic. That's how they designed how the game is probably going to, or mostly ends all the time, or etc. You can play in any particular way you want, but in order to end the game successfully, you need to do, this and this. In order for you to win the game, you need to do this particular thing. So, you know, like I said, in the end, you know, it it's not always going to basically be sure you could have fun. Probably I'd probably say for a couple of matches, but for the most part, um, the way the game's designed, you're not rewarded for making smart decisions. You're not rewarded for um, uh, making good calls. Even if you wanted to be the hero, like for instance, I remember I played Soraka a couple of times where I teleported top, and I started healing the top as he was in the fight, so it could win in his favor and etc. But he instead of him going ahead and finishing the player off, he goes ahead and turns around and walks back. Um, I mean, like in reality, even if you're trying to make smart plays, even if you're trying to do all these particular things, it doesn't matter. In the end, you know, Riot says no. They want you to win this in this particular way. Now, let's talk about why this game's fun. Well, each champion's different. Each champion has his own unique ways of attacking, even his own he or she's own personality that's unique and etc. Um, that's one of the biggest things I love about League of Legends. That's it's always fun to look forward to a new champion um, to play with and etc. But you know, in the end though, it's a fun game, but at the same time, it's a bad game. Um, like I said, it's the only time if I were going to advise anybody for League of Legends, like first time League of Legends players, I would tell them automatically, don't play by yourself, play with all 5 of your friends. That's the only time you are going to have 100% fun. If you choose to play by yourself, I guarantee you, after playing enough time, you're going to eventually get upset because this stranger that you're playing with either didn't go in when you did, or they didn't heal you when they should have. They didn't, hit the tower to destroy the tower like they should have. I mean, there's so many reasons to lose the game. Really, it's ungodly funny. Um, and the sad part is they're usually simple reasons. They're not difficult reasons. They're simple reasons you lost the game. Um, but you know what? Here, I think the funniest argument I have seen in League of Legends all the time is, um, you need to ward to win the game. That's in this game. People complain about vision. They're like, oh, I lost the game because I didn't have any vision. Well, I'll tell you this. I've played the game enough to a point where I played matches where there was no vision at all and we won. I mean, does vision help? Sure, sure. But sadly, vision is not permanently there. You have to constantly keep placing wards down to get vision, to make sure you can see the enemy coming. But in reality aspects, are you really going to always remember to do it? No, there's going to be times where you forget. Um, but vision is not really what wins the game. Uh, they can try to tell me, anyone can try to argue with me saying that vision will always win the game. No, that's not true at all. Me and my friends have played against players who are way, way higher than us, and um, we didn't have any vision, and we still kicked their ass. It's a team-based game. You know, uh, the idea that you know, a ward would, turn around and always give you a win is not true. That's just a blank, it's a lie. Does it help to have vision? Of course, but it's not gonna guarantee you're gonna go ahead and see. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, the game itself, it's fun. It's fun to play, but the way it's designed, it sucks. It sucks so bad because you know you have to play with your friends for it to be enjoyable. Because playing by yourself, trust me, an enjoyment aspect is going to be there for a very, very short time, and then eventually you're going to realize how much you just despise the game itself. And you'll realize, you have more fun playing with your friends because let's be honest, your friends, when you're playing with your friends, you don't care who gets the kill. You don't care if the support gets the kill. You don't care if your jungle gets the kill. You don't care if the tank gets the kill. You don't give a shit who gets the kill. You're like, man, come on, man, let's get that tower down. Kill this guy. Kill this guy. Kill this guy. Kill this one. Kill this one. Kill this one. You don't care who gets the kill. But I swear to God, when you play with a bunch of strangers, you know darn well whether it's that support, whether it's the ADC, whether it's the jungler, whether it's the tank top, it doesn't matter. Some of those guys are going to either go ahead and bitch that they've only gotten 2 kills all game, or they've gotten not enough gold or whatever. Could I please hit a couple of minions or whichever the case? I mean, people nitpick so much. Literally, it's impossible for to bring together a whole bunch of strangers and expect them to act this particular professional way, and etc. I mean, it's just impossible. But that's the problem with the game. Literally, you want the answer. Why is League so toxic? Why is League this particular way? Why are there so many trolls in this game, and etc. Literally, the main reason why is because you're playing with strangers. Literally, look. You look at everything. In the end, it comes down to you trusting these particular people to do certain particular things, and if they don't, it'll easily make your champion die in the process, or you lose the tower or the inhib. I mean, take your pick. I mean, there's so many particular reasons to lose or win in this game. There's so many different particular ways, and in the end, that's where it causes the most toxicity. So, but is it a fun game? Yes. Is it a bad game? Yes. That's pretty much how it describes League of Legends. It's a terrible game, but it's fun to play. I mean, that in the essence to its core, it's a terrible game, but it is fun to play. That is pretty much how I would describe like League of Legends and pretty much everything in it. Anyways, this is Ash Lockhart signing off.